If you ever find a wooden door in the Backrooms Library, don't open it. That's how my story begins, and maybe how it ends. I've been wandering the endless aisles for hours when I spotted it. A heavy, carved wooden door that completely broke the monotony of metal shelves and buzzing fluorescent lights. It had symbols burned into the wood, circles, triangles, lines crossing like constellations. A metal plaque read, "Forbidden Reading Room, authorized readers only." Something about the word forbidden drew me in. Maybe it was the illusion of control, thinking there was a place someone didn't want me to go. Maybe it was desperation. I pushed the door open. Instant silence. Real silence. For the first time since I arrived, the buzzing lights vanished. The air was still, heavy, warm. The room was circular, lit only by candles that didn't flicker. In the center sat a single table. On it, a single book, a librarian's nightmare, an oversized leather tome bound in something rough, something that didn't feel like animal hide. It pulsed faintly. I shouldn't have touched it, but the moment I stepped inside, the door shut behind me and the lock turned on its own. I was trapped anyway. The moment I laid my hand on the cover, the candles flared. The symbols carved into the walls glowed faintly. A low whisper rose, not from the room, but from the book itself. I opened it. The pages were blank. At first, then ink bled into the parchment, forming images, not drawings, but moving shadows like projections. I saw myself entering the room. I saw myself opening the book. I saw the moment I noticed. Something standing behind me. I slammed the book shut and spun around. The room was empty. But the candles began to dim one by one, like someone was blowing them out. In the growing darkness, I heard slow footsteps circling the table, too heavy to be human, too soft to be mechanical. My pulse pounded as something brushed the back of my neck, cold and slightly wet. Then a voice whispered directly behind my ear, "Read." I didn't want to. Every instinct screamed to run, but the door wouldn't budge. The handle burned my hand like ice. The whisper grew harsher. "Read." I opened the book again, and new images appeared. This time, they showed other people, past readers. Each one seated in the same room. Each one flipping through pages that documented their own unraveling. Their eyes were wide, terrified. Their skin looked thinner, almost translucent. Then the images changed to show their final moments, when something in the shadows dragged them out of frame. And then it got worse. The book began writing my future. Words formed, "Reader 47, consumed by the archivist at 3:14 a.m. I looked at the candle closest to me. Its wick was almost gone. The room trembled as something massive shifted in the darkness. A long, skeletal hand emerged behind me, thin fingers ending in ink-black claws dripping with letters that melted into the floor. A tall silhouette leaned over me, impossibly tall, its body made of shifting text and shadow, like every forbidden book had been combined into a single nightmare. Its voice rattled the shelves, finished the story. But the page in front of me was blank again. It wanted me to write. With trembling fingers, I lifted the quill lying on the table. The moment I touched it, ink crawled across my skin like veins. The archivist leaned closer, its claws tracing the edge of my shoulder. I began writing my own desperate words, the ink flowing on its own, as if something was pulling it out of me. The first time I heard the whispers in the Backrooms Library, I thought it was the ventilation system. The sound was soft at first, like air being pulled through a narrow grate. But then I realized something terrifying. It was words, actual words. The whispers drifted through the aisles, repeating phrases over and over, sometimes fast, sometimes slow, sometimes overlapping like multiple voices crowding into one throat. I shouldn't have wandered so deep into the stacks, but the deeper I went, the more the books changed. Their covers were blank. Their pages smelled damp. Their ink wasn't quite normal. It shimmered, like oil on water. I didn't want to touch them, but I needed to understand where I was. I flipped one open. The page was filled with handwritten journal entries, dated decades apart, each one a panic-filled description of someone trapped just like me. The whispering comes from empty books, one entry said. They record us. My blood ran cold. The moment I closed the book, the whispers stopped. Silence swallowed everything. Then, slowly, the whispers started again, but louder, closer. The shelves trembled as something brushed against them, moving unnaturally fast. I crouched behind a low cart as a figure drifted past. It wasn't human. It was a floating cluster of torn book pages, bound together by nothing but static electricity, swirling in a humanoid shape. Words flickered across its surface, forming and unforming like unstable code. It moved as if searching for something or someone, me. I held my breath as the whispering grew, so loud it felt like it was inside my head. The creature paused, pages fluttering, before gliding down another aisle. I ran. The whispers followed. Every aisle I entered rearranged behind me, sealing off the way I'd come. The shelves seemed to move, shifting like sliding walls. I tripped as a book fell from above, landing open on the floor. It was my handwriting, a full page, a journal entry, one I had never written. I hear it behind me. I don't think I'll outrun it. This place records everything. My heart pounded. The whispers hit a crescendo, and suddenly every book on every shelf opened at once, their pages flipping violently. The creature appeared again, this time in front of me. It didn't walk. It hovered. The pages forming its face shifted, showing words like they were trying to speak. The whispers turned into a chorus of my own voice, repeating my thoughts a split second after I had them. I was a night shift librarian before I fell into the backrooms, so maybe that's why this place chose me. Or maybe the backrooms don't choose, they just wait. Either way, I know that the day everything changed started like any other late shift, echoing halls, dusty shelves, and absolute silence. I was shelving a cart of books, rolling it down an aisle where the motion sensors never worked. It was always darker down that part of the building. My coworkers joked that the library had dead corners, spots where the lights didn't care to shine. I pushed the cart forward, leaned down to return a book on local history, and when I straightened up, the aisle wasn't the same. The lights above buzzed like dying insects. The air smelled of mold and stale pages. The carpet beneath my shoes had transformed into the same rough, yellow fiber from the Backrooms videos I'd seen online years ago. Before I even understood what happened, something else hit me harder. The shelves went on forever. I mean forever. No back wall, no into the aisles, no natural stopping point. Just a horizon of stacked books, flickering lights, and a low mechanical hum coming from everywhere and nowhere. I whispered, "Hello," because silence was worse. My voice didn't echo. It felt swallowed. I took a few steps. A sign hung from the ceiling, the kind you'd see in a normal library, Stacks AD. But the letters were wrong, warped like melting wax. I tried to walk back toward where I thought I came from, but after turning down a few aisles, everything looked exactly the same. Same light flicker, same corner stain, same crooked book sticking out 3 inches from a shelf. I pushed it back in. The moment I stepped away, I saw the same crooked book sticking out again 10 feet further down. My stomach dropped. There was movement here. I kept walking. The shelves groaned behind me like old wood shifting under weight, but these shelves were metal. They shouldn't have groaned. Eventually, I found a desk, a reference desk, but it was wrong. The computer looked 20 years outdated, its screen filled with flickering static. A sign taped to the counter said, "Please return all books they are watching." I didn't want to know who they were. I turned to run, but the aisle behind me wasn't the same aisle anymore. The shelves were closer together, narrowing like a throat. I squeezed through, scraping my shoulders against metal, and the aisle spit me out into a clearing. A circular reading room. A giant clock hung overhead, except the hands spun backwards. Fast. Books lay open on every table, pages fluttering like something invisible had just moved past them. I took one step forward and all the pages froze. Instantly, as if time had stopped. Then I heard it, a slow, dragging sound. Not footsteps, more like fabric being pulled across carpet. Something large, something scraping. I ducked behind a table. The dragging grew louder. Whatever entered the reading room was tall, so tall its head scraped the clock overhead. I only saw its silhouette, a long, stretched-out thing, wrapped in what looked like strips of book pages. Its arms, if they were arms, drooped like melted wax. Words and sentences inked across its body pulsed faintly, like veins. It moved painfully slow, like a puppet controlled by broken strings. Every few seconds it jerked sharply, as if glitching. I held my breath. It sniffed the air, if that's what that twitch was, then reached toward a table, touching a book. The moment it did, the words disappeared from the pages, sucked into its body. The ink spread across its surface like infection.